All right, so welcome to the Living the Mission statement. We're going to go ahead and get started right away. First, we'll do introductions.
I'm Lianta. I'm the assistant school leader for the lower school.
And I'm Lianta Palmer, and I'm the assistant school leader for the upper school.
We're going to ask everybody to quarterly read the KIPP Credo together with us.
At KIPP, we believe. We believe in the creation of inspired lives produced by desire, discipline, and dedication. We are not frightened by the challenges of reality, but believe that we can change our world and our place within it. We work, plan, create, and dream. Our talent, character, and integrity will be the tools we need to build a better tomorrow. We believe that we can take this place, this time, and the people here, and build a better place, a better time, and a better people. As a team and family, we will either find a way
or make one.
Yes.
So we're going to get started with a quick icebreaker. So when we say go, we're going to have everybody stand up and make a circle in the back of the room, and we're going to play the name game, which you might have played before. So the way that we'll play it is that we'll start with the first person in the circle will say their name, and an adjective that starts with the same letter as their name. So for example, I might be Lovely Leanne. And then the next person will have to say their own name and their own adjective, as well as the name and the adjective of the person that came before them. And we will work our way all around the circle, so the last person has to say the name and the adjective of everybody that came before them. So let's all head to the back of the room and make a circle. Go.
Wow, that game was so much fun.
Super fun, guys.
So today in our session, we're going to hit on a couple of things. We want to make sure that we give you a brief overview so after we've all gotten a chance to get to know one another. So we will be discussing the connection to a larger movement here in St. Louis and across the nation. We'll also be going over the mission, vision, and core beliefs that we have here in KIPP St. Louis and specifically at KIPP Victory. We'll discuss our school values, or our voice values is what we call them. And then we'll also have another activity at the end to promote the fact that we are a team and a family.
We also want to set some session norms before we get started today. So can I get Leanne to read the first one for me? Yeah, so assume the best means that we want to come here with an open mind. So if a participant says something, we assume that it's said with best intentions. We also assume that all feedback is given from a place of love. Can I get Ryan to read the second one for me?
Step forward, step back.
So this is really about making sure that you're being an active participant. We know that some of us might need to push to step forward and participate more and share out more often. Some of us might need to regulate the amount that we're sharing and step back and let others be the ones who are sharing. Can I get Satara to read the third one for me?
Follow through.
Yeah, so basically if you make a commitment during the session, follow through with it, as well as follow through with practicing. So if we release somebody to go practice, then actually make sure that you're doing the practice as it's outlined in the protocol. And can I get Dan to read the fourth one for me, please?
Low tech, high engagement.
So cell phones should be away. Computers should be clamshelled unless it's something that we need to be able to do for PE. And can I get Haley to read the last one?
Keep a game day attitude.
Yeah, so we're going to practice a lot today and throughout the week. Whenever we do that, we ask that you do it as if you were doing it in front of kids to make the practice as real as possible.
So when we think about the movement, we want you to think about the one word that comes to mind. So in your participant notes, I want you to take a second, jot that word down, and we'll get ready to share out in just a moment. So what word comes to mind, Tammy? That's a great word. As we're moving forward, I want you to make sure that you all keep those words in mind as we watch the next video. So we're about to watch a brief clip from the video Eyes on the Prize, which is actually a PBS series on the civil rights movement. As you watch, you're going to hear different activists from the movement actually speak to us. You will also hear the freedom songs that the civil rights workers sang during the mass meetings and the protests. So we're going to go ahead and watch the video, and you can take notes after.
joined our school, you didn't just join a school, you also joined a movement. We truly believe that we're part of a history of people who have worked to make our country more equitable and a freer society for all of us. And many of this room joined the movement to close the achievement gap because we saw it as a civil rights issue. So we're not boarding buses to go work in the South, but we are trying to make sure that educational inequity in the United States is ended, and we're doing that by coming to school every day and teaching. And as we go through our session today on what it means to live our mission, we're actually going to look at this work of teaching through the lens of civil rights. And from there, we're going to look really closely at the achievement gap in the United States, and particularly in St. Louis, so that we have a lot of background knowledge about why the achievement gap is important, and why our school has a very particular approach to reversing the achievement gap. And because our school has a particular approach, we're also going to think about what kind of teacher would be successful at our school. And because of this, we're going to take down what type of teacher it would take to transform urban education, and how you will demonstrate those qualities in your daily work. So we're going to start with Lianta and I sharing some personal stories about why we do this work. So you can see some pictures of former students that are up on the board. The student that I've shared here is Imani Wallace, who is a current KIPster. She's a 4th grader this year. I was Imani's classroom teacher in 1st and 2nd grade. My first introduction to her was a meeting with her caseworker, who let me know her family situation. So both Imani's mom and dad were in jail for drug-related incidents at the time. There was a history of domestic violence in the house. There was a history of child abuse in the house. And Imani and her brother had both been taken away from her family, or from her parents, and given to separate relatives. So Imani was living with her aunt and her 3 older cousins at the time. In so many words, the caseworker basically told me, like, watch out for this kid. She had, at one point I remember, taken her her caseworker's cell phone and tried to throw it out the window of a moving car. She was like super frequently suspended in kindergarten. And yeah, her caseworker was basically just like, she's gonna be a handful. And when I got to meet her, she was a handful at times. But the more that I got to know her, the more that I realized a lot of her behaviors came from the fact that she was academically behind. She came to 1st grade and didn't know more than half of her letter sounds. She couldn't add or subtract. She couldn't count to 100. And Imani, being a very, very smart kid, knew that she was behind and was actually really angry about it. So it took a lot of hard work over the course of those 2 years. But when she ended 2nd grade, she was actually reading on grade level. And this last year, as a 3rd grader, she was slightly above grade level in reading, and her final 2 math tests, she was proficient. She got above an 80%. And when I look at her now, like, she's just a much happier kid. Like, she still has her moments, as all kids do, but when I see her now at school, she's smiling and she's happy to be here. And it wasn't just me that did that for her, it was a team. So it took like classroom teachers, it took social workers, it took special ed teachers, it took her family, and it took Imani believing in herself too. So I tell the story of Imani because I think it really does show that with hard work, we can be a force to change kids' lives. When Imani came to us, she was not on a trajectory to graduate from college. She was significantly behind where she needed to be. But now she is on a path to where one day she'll be able to apply to college of her choice and be able to go to college. She also has an older cousin, his name is Markiki, who is a KIP Inspire alum. And he was one of the scholars in the early days of KIP Inspire. And his 6th grade writing teacher actually ended up becoming Imani's special ed teacher. And one day Imani went to her special ed teacher and said something along the lines of, do you think that one day I'll be as smart as Markiki was when I get to middle school? And Sarah came to me and she's like, I didn't know how to tell her, like, you already as a 2nd grader know more than Markiki did when he came to me. Markiki came to 6th grade and was reading at a 2nd grade level. And Sarah was like, your whole future, Imani, is just going to be completely different than what Markiki went through because you are just set up in a completely different way. And again, to me, like, that right there is why I do this work. It's about changing kids' trajectories and making them be able to have choices in their life. Like, I can't change Imani's family situation, I can't change what her home life is like, but I can make sure that she comes to school every day and feels loved and learns. And I can make sure that in a few years, when she's 18, she is competitive with scholars from all over the country so that she can go to the college that she chooses.
Thank you, Leanne. So let me introduce you to Maurice. Maurice is a scholar that I met before I transitioned over to KIP. And as we're reflecting, and I want you to remember, keep one thing in mind. we all do this work for different reasons. When I started teaching, I began in first grade. As if the 6-year-olds weren't enough, I decided that it would be a great idea to spend time in kindergarten as well. So in my time in the kindergarten classrooms, I met my lovely friend Maurice here. Mo was very, very shy initially, but so respectful, polite, and so extremely responsible. In conversation with him, you would have never guessed that he was actually slightly behind academically until you actually leaned over and started looking and analyzing his work. Yeah. So math just never really clicked for him, no matter how hard he tried. And Maurice was actually a very good reader in terms of speed and accuracy, but he really struggled with comprehension. So when he finished, usually couldn't tell you exactly what he was reading. So over the course of the next few years, I ended up getting Maurice in both first grade and again in second grade. And in that time, I got to know Maurice. I got to better understand his family situation. Dad was in and out of the picture. Sometimes he was there, sometimes he wasn't. Mom's health was not always the best. She had some serious health concerns, which would result in her passing out and them the family spending lots of nights in the emergency room or in the back of an ambulance. And Grandma did her best to assist as much as she could, but she had her own daycare and she had other kids to worry about. So again, she did the best that she could, but she couldn't always just focus only on Maurice. So even now, as Maurice has transitioned into fourth grade, I still get updates about how he continues to work hard to improve his math scores, which, shout out to Maurice, he ended up getting one of the highest scores on his end of the year assessments for third grade. I also get updates about how cursive is really hard, but he's gonna continue to practice at home so he can get better and show me his improved handwriting. And I also get updates about how well Mom is doing now and how her health has gradually improved over the years. I share all of this with you because Maurice is exactly the type of scholar that I admire and aspire to be like. I do this work because I want to be like him, and I want other scholars to see themselves in someone like Maurice, and to see that they're also capable of doing whatever they want despite the odds.
So one of our bottom lines today is that we believe in the tremendous ability to influence others. Neil Moore said it best. He said victory is won not in miles, but in inches. The work that we do day in, day out has a tremendous capacity to change scholars' lives.
So today, in our session, we're going to make sure that we, as a staff, are able to articulate KVA's mission and vision, as well as align our mindsets by creating unified definitions of the voice values. So on your handout, I want you to please respond with one word. If a school has high expectations, what would you hear, see, or feel when you walked into that school building? Go ahead and take 1 minute to write that down. Great, so now that everybody has their one word, we're actually going to go down the line and popcorn out, so make sure that you're paying attention so you can hear when it's your turn. We're going to go ahead and start with Leanne and work our way down.
Determined.
Joyful. All the way down.
Silent.
So here's the next question. So are the words that we brainstorm enough to make a radical change in the current state of urban education? We all know that the answer is no. So with that in mind, we're going to actually take a look at the state urban education on a national level. As we take a look at the data, I want you to keep your brainstorm list of words in your mind because we're going to actually revisit them a little bit later and see if we need to refine or grow our list. So in doing so, we're going to talk a little bit about the NAEP, or the National Assessment of Educational Progress. This is actually often called the nation's report card. It's the only measure of student achievement in the U.S. that allows you to compare the performance of students in your state with the performance of students across the nation or in other states. We see that children who read on grade level by the end of third grade are more successful in school, work, and in life. you take a look at this slide and see that 68% of the nation's fourth graders read below proficient on the NAEP reading assessment. I just want that to sink in for just a moment. And if we could, Jeremy, could you read this slide aloud for everyone? Thanks, Jeremy. So we want you guys to take a look at this slide. So we know that urban education is in crisis. So already in fourth grade, we're seeing that children are on a trajectory that will not allow them to be college ready. When we look at the data, we can see, or we can notice that 8th graders in KIPP are outperforming the state in every subject areas. Our most recent data shows that our middle school is on top, sorry, my hands, are on top for 10% of the state and multiple subject areas. If this is what we're seeing, imagine if we started in kinder or even in preschool. We now have the opportunity to serve students at the beginning of their educational careers. And by working together, we can work to ensure that all scholars we serve are well prepared to graduate to high school and apply and attend the college of their choice. So the fact of the matter is, urban education is in a crisis. We believe if we have certain that if we have certain non-negotiables in place in KIPP Victory, we will be able to actually transform education as a whole.
So when I call on you, if you could please popcorn out the words that are in black. Can I get Danny?
Clear mission.
Sarah.
Culture of good and great.
Rebecca.
Purposely daily routines.
Mike.
Teacher alignment.
Yeah. So one of the things that we have at KIPP is very clear systems for behavior, very clear systems for incentives, and very clear systems for academics. And we believe that as a staff, we need to be bought into those systems and use them with fidelity all the time. Can I get Ryan to read the next one?
High expectations for learning.
And Joan.
High expectations for behavior.
Yeah, so again, we believe in having fidelity to the behavior management system and the incentive system. We also believe in building strong relationships with scholars to show them that these high expectations are rooted in a place of love and a place of belief that they can achieve the expectations that we've set for them. And Joan.
Data-driven culture.
Tyler.
School-wide systems.
Makai.
Buy-in from all stakeholders.
Trevor.
Culture of accountability.
Mia.
Collaboration that is purposeful.
Dana.
Self-discipline.
And Katie.
Clear connection to voice values.
We're going to spend a lot more time in the session today talking about voice values, but another thing that I want to stamp is that we do have a socio-emotional curriculum that we teach during family meeting, and we believe really strongly in having fidelity to that system and teaching it every day. So you're looking at an aerial picture of St. Louis right now, and this lime green line that you see running down the middle is Delmar Boulevard. In the city of St. Louis, this is the line that most of you probably know divides the city between North St. Louis and South St. Louis. On the south side, people tend to be more affluent. On the north side, people tend to be living in more poverty. Unfortunately, this isn't a situation that's unique to St. Louis, but it is something that we face every day and that our scholars face every day. So much of our existence here as a school is to address this quote that we see from Martin Luther King Jr. And can I get Jack to read the quote for us, please?
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Thank you. We're going to watch a video now that the BBC did on the Delmar Divide. And as we're watching this video, you have two reflection questions that I want you to think about. So first, how does this reality in this video drive our work as a school? And second, what are some commitments you can make as a KVA staff after seeing this video? We're going to take 1 minute to watch the video.
And so there's a space for you to reflect inside of your participant notes, and we'll give you time to reflect after we watch the video.
Okay. So let's take about 3 minutes to reflect silent solo in your packet. Okay, now that we've had that time for individual
At the end of the day, we must go forward with hope and not backward by fear and division.
So we're going to take some time to silent and solo reflect on your biggest takeaway from this session. So think about all the things that we've already talked about so far today. Think about the work of Claiborne Carson and the freedom movement. Think about the state of urban education. And think about the state of St. Louis and the reality of the Delmar Divide. Take that time to really reflect and process that and think about what kinds of commitments you can make as a KDA staff member this year, knowing all of those things. Great, and now we're going to take a break.
Yeah, so thank you so much for your commitment so far. You guys have been working really hard and sharing a lot of awesome content. We want to see you guys continue to bring that energy into the next part of the session. But go ahead and take a quick 10-minute break. There are snacks around the corner. The bathrooms are right around the hall. And we ask that you be back in exactly 10 minutes.
Exactly.
Great, so now that everybody's back, we're going to go ahead and continue.
So we want to give you a little bit of background right now on KIP and our history. So we're going to watch the KIP St. Louis video. This was made in 2015, so it's a couple years old. And the picture that you saw was of our founder, Tiara, who was one of our first-year scholars. So we were founded in 2014. We had 200 kindergarten and first-grade scholars that year and about 20 staff members. And you can see a picture here of our founding admin team. Over the years, we've grown. Last year in 2016, we had about 420 kindergarten, first, second, and third grade scholars, and a staff of 45. And now this year, we are a fully grown school, which is amazing. We'll be serving 600 scholars this year, and we have a staff of about 50 people. We're also adding fourth grade, so you guys are representing our newest founding team. We want to take some time now for you to reflect on why you chose to work at KIP Victory. So take 3 minutes to reflect individually in your participant notes, and then we're going to share as a partner and share as a group. So right now you're just reflecting silent and solo. Okay, great. Now that you've had that time to reflect individually, turn to a partner and share out. Why did you choose to come to work at KIP Victory? Great. If we could come back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. David, can you share out what you and your partner were talking about? Great, thank you. And Trevor.
Poor Trevor.
I know. So what is he making? Trevor, can you share what you and your partner were thinking of too? Great, thank you guys so much for your reflections.
So we just wanted to say that we all, again, have different reasons for being here, but regardless of that, we're still a team and family working toward the goal of giving all of our scholars an excellent education and ensuring that college will be an attainable option for them and that they'll have access to graduate from high school. So now we're going to talk a little bit more and dive a little deeper into our mission, vision, and core beliefs. So at KIP Victory, Sarah, can you go ahead and read this for us? At KIP Victory Academy, our mission is to develop in all of our scholars the knowledge, skills, character, and voice necessary to achieve victory in post-primary school, college, and the world we live in.
And when we call on you, if you could just read one sentence at a time, please. Diane.
KIP Victory Academy is grounded in the belief that kids deserve a nurturing, challenging, joyful environment in which to learn, grow, and achieve at the highest levels.
At KIP Victory Academy, we will work to ensure that our scholars understand who they are as a person and where they are academically to inform their movement towards themselves.
Our scholars will be empowered to see themselves as a person that matters to the world and will be able to voice their needs, thoughts, and academic knowledge in a scholarly way.
At KIP Victory Academy, exceptional literacy instruction, strategic small group learning, and a deep understanding of self-advocacy will lead our scholars to be victors in all they endeavor.
So now we'd like to take a moment to actually stop and jot. So we're going to take about 3 minutes to write about what the impact will be in our city if we accomplish our mission and our vision. So go ahead and take 3 minutes, silent and solo. Great, so let's go ahead and come back together. Now, we want you to share what you wrote down with your elbow partner. So go ahead, and we'll have 2 minutes to share. Thank you. We need everybody back together in 5, 4, 3. Wow, you guys are fast. So Tara, can you go ahead and share what you shared with your partner, please? That's an excellent observation. And Tammy, can you go ahead and share what you said with your partner? Perfect.
So we believe that at KIPP, we are ordinary people who do extraordinary things. And we know that it takes a certain type of person to engage successfully in this work. So at Victory, we believe that there are certain qualities that can make a teacher successful. And one quality of successful teachers is the ability to embody the Stockdale paradox. The Stockdale paradox was named after Jim Stockton. He was the highest-ranking U.S. military officer to be imprisoned in Vietnam, and he was held in the Hanoi Hilton and repeatedly tortured over 8 years. In the book Good to Great, Jim Collins actually sits down with Stockton for lunch because he wants to figure out how did he survive that time as a POW when many people died after just months in captivity. One thing that Stockton told him was that he noticed that people who often gave up the quickest were the people who at first had that kind of blind optimism, right? So they were like, well, we'll definitely be out by Christmas. And then when Christmas became Easter, those people quickly gave up. The people that survived were the people who didn't stop believing that they would escape, but also made sure to really dig into the harsh realities of what was happening in their day-to-day and didn't turn a blind eye to those things. So what he ended up telling Collins was that you must retain faith that you will prevail in the end, regardless of the difficulties. And at the same time, you must confront the most brutal facts of your current reality, whatever they might be. And having those two contradictory notions in his head was the key to him actually surviving his experience. And it's a summary of the mindset that you have to have when we're facing the achievement gap. So we have to have undying faith in the possible, while also facing the facts of our realities and our scholars' realities. We have to believe that our mission to close the achievement gap will happen. We also have to do everything we can to make it happen. But we also can't let that belief cloud our reality, and we can't ignore things that happen in the day-to-day just by simply blindly believing that one day the achievement gap will close. So in addition to understanding and believing the Stockdale paradox, we also know that there are other qualities of powerful teachers. So to identify those qualities, we're going to take a look at Wendy Kopp's Realizing the Vision. So you have an excerpt in your participant packet, if you could turn to it. You're going to have 15 minutes to silent and solo read through this excerpt. So we'll come back together in 15 minutes. Okay, let's come back together. All right, thank you. So now we're actually going to do a little bit of group work. So in a minute, we're going to split up into groups of 3. And you're going to generate a list of the qualities of transformational teachers that you saw in the reading. So you're going to have chart paper to write down your qualities. And afterwards, we're going to do a gallery walk. So while you're doing this, I want you to keep in mind the following sort of framing questions. First, what are the characteristics of a transformational teacher? Second, what drives them? What do they focus on? And how do they get results? So let's actually just count down the row, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, in order to split up in our groups. Perfect. And if group 1 could go here, group 2, group 3, group 4. Great. And you guys will have exactly 10 minutes in order to create this list. And you may get started. Okay, we can get everybody's attention in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. So what we're actually going to do now is do a gallery walk. So we're going to have the next 3 minutes to stop and look at all of the different chart papers. As you're walking, have your marker in hand so you can star anything that you see on another group that you really agree with. So you can go ahead and get started, and we'll have the next 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0. Great. I heard some really, really strong reflections. I saw Diane talking about the need to balance being a no-nonsense nurturer. I saw Rayshawn talking about having like really high expectations for kids and communicating those high expectations and a belief that scholars can achieve those high expectations. So we also believe that in addition to those things that we just talked about, we believe that there are some common things that frame what we do as a team. These are our core beliefs. So you have the core beliefs in your participant packet. Take 2 minutes to read through those, and then pay really special attention to the words that are bolded in orange. If you could drop those lines on your notes packet. Okay, it's been 2 minutes. So if I could have people just popcorn out the words in orange.
All of us will learn.
Education is freedom.
Data informs all decisions.
With calm urgency.
Every parent wants the best.
We are 100% accountable.
Collaboration and cooperation.
Working with families in our community.
Earn trust and build relationships.
It's all about the adults.
Whatever it takes.
We are the Victory Dragons, and we do whatever it takes to create a joyful, disciplined, and rigorous school because that's the school that the children of St. Louis deserve. So we're going to think a little bit more about what that means to you on an individual level. You have some time to reflect individually and some space in your packet to do so. Just jot down your key takeaways from this portion of the session. And we'll come back together in 3 minutes. All right, thank you all so much for your reflecting. We are going to take a quick break. Let's be back in 10 minutes. That would be 2:13.
Great, thank you everybody for being back in your seats at 2:13. Now we're going to talk a little bit more about our voice values. So right now, I'm going to just popcorn out. What do all of these individuals have in common? Yeah, so we're noticing that they're all leaders. And all of these people have changed the world through their voice, either as a singer, as a leader, or as a writer. And some of our children, all of our children, are going to be able to do the same. So our goal is to make sure that every one of our scholars is equipped with the voice to change the world in the same way. So these are our voice values, and you should have space in your participant notes to copy them down. Voice, optimism, intellect, curiosity, and excellence. So as a school, we're committed to ensuring that our scholars understand and live our voice values every single day. So the following are some whole school commitments that we're making to actually ensure that these things occur. So the first thing that we're going to have is peer mentoring. That means we're going to have some of our older scholars working with both new students and younger students to help mentor them and get them acclimated to our school environment. We'll also have a family meeting curriculum and lessons. Leanne hit on this a little bit earlier by making sure that we follow through on this with fidelity, and it's going to be really important to building a strong culture in both our classroom and as a school community. Additionally, there will be recognition of students and teachers that embody and display the voice values daily during community meeting. So later on in the following days to come, we'll talk more about community meeting, what that is and how it looks, but just know that there will be shout outs for both students and teachers that are doing all of these amazing things. So with your shoulder partner, we want to see what you remember about our voice values. So before we go in, let's see if you can name all of the voice values without any assistance. So go ahead and take 1 minute, see if you can name them all. Great, let's bring it back in 3, 2, 1. As I was walking around, I heard Angela able to list all of them. Angela, can you go ahead and name them for us? Wow, Angela, you got all 5 voice values. Have that for Angela. Great, so the first value that we want to talk about today is voice. So we practice effective, respectful communication in order to self-advocate and speak out for change in the world. So the quote here The quote here is a Lebanese proverb that we like to use to help us reflect on voice. Lower your voice and strengthen your argument.
Our second value is optimism. At KBA, we believe that every opportunity to grow presents itself in the form of challenges and difficulties that we know that we can overcome. And this is best exemplified by the quote from Helen Keller, which says, "Optimism is the faith that leads to achievement. Nothing can be done without hope and confidence."
At KIP Victory, we are problem solvers, tinkerers, and explorers who embrace depth of knowledge above knowledge alone. This can be shown by Albert Einstein and his saying, "It's not that I'm so smart, it's just that I stay with problems longer."
At KIP Victory, we ask scholarly questions in order to learn more, understand more, and achieve more. We believe that one must question everything in order to learn anything. And this directly relates to our voice value of curiosity. Nancy Willard said, "Sometimes questions are more important than answers."
And our final value is excellence. Here at KBA, we are in the habit of operating as if there is no ceiling for what we can and will do. Our bar is higher than other bars, our standard is higher than other standards, and we are in the habit of doing better than our best selves. This can be exemplified by Aristotle and it's saying, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. So how do you know? So in just a second, we're going to split up into groups. We are actually going to form 5 groups. So we're going to take a moment and count off by 5, not by 5s. We're going to count off to 5, starting with the red row. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Great. So now that we have our groups, your job or your task is to summarize your specific value, and we'll go over which group has which value in just a moment. In your time in your group, you may draw or write to tell what would scholars do if they embody the value, and what would scholars say if they embody your specific value. If you are a 1, then you are voice. 2, you have optimism. Our 3s, you are intellect. 4, you guys have curiosity. And 5s, you guys have excellence. So we're going to go ahead and take the next 5 minutes to work on your posters. So go ahead and transition.
Okay, let's come back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go around the room now and share out the work that you did on your specific voice values. So let's start with voice. Great, thank you. Optimism. Great, thank you. Intellect, excuse me. Thanks, intellect. Curiosity. Great job, curiosity. And finally, excellence. Thank you so much, guys.
That's my favorite part. So we've just spent so much time reflecting on the qualities of each of these leaders and how they've been able to use their voices to change the world. We know that here at KBA, we have the ability to help our scholars truly become the leaders of tomorrow. One way that we do this is by encouraging them to live these values every day. And this is when we all say, "Aww."
Okay, we've done a lot of thinking work today, so we do want you guys to take one final time to flip in your participant packet to your final reflection. We're going to take 5 minutes to just jot down any of your major takeaways from all of the work that we've done together today. Okay, and if I could get everybody back. If I get 3 volunteers to share out some of their big takeaways from today. Yeah, go ahead, Laura. Great, thank you, Laura. And Diane. Thank you, Diane. And finally, Kevin. Great, thank you.
So for our closing, we have a special way that we like to celebrate here at Victory. So one thing that we need everybody to do is please stand up and push in your chairs. We're going to transition over to the rug and form a circle. Everybody put your hands in the middle. When we say, "Who are we?" you say victory. Get ready. Who are we?